The Umbrella Academy is an action-packed series, blending drama, comedy and action into one heady cocktail of superhero goodness. The characters are nicely developed, there's some intriguing little twists too, and plenty to get through across the 4 seasons on Netflix. If you finish watching this one and are looking for alternate picks, we've combed through the archives and saved you the hassle with our top 10 picks that aren't spin-offs or set in the same universe. As always, let us know your favourites in the comments and which of these you've watched. So without further ado, let's start the countdown. Doom Patrol is one of the quirkiest superhero shows out there, and much like the Umbrella Academy, changed the game when it came to thinking outside the box. Doom Patrol instead leans into its absurdity. The characters are interesting, with multiple issues that manifest across the 4 seasons. The team have their own problems to contend with too, and that's explored across the show's 4 season arcs. Although the later seasons do lose a bit of pizzazz, there's enough here to recommend all the same. When it comes to a tight-knit group of teenagers forming an unlikely group, British series Misfits fits the bill perfectly. It's a smartly written series that balances a combination of laugh-out-loud moments with much more profound bouts of drama. The story here revolves around a group of young offenders out doing community service. When they're struck by lightning during a storm, each of these misfits start to develop superpowers. What follows is a nicely paced and well-written adventure that's perhaps darker than many may be expecting. However, it's undeniably well written and well worth checking out. Dark is thought-provoking, regularly surprising and full of interesting characters to keep you watching until the final scene. Across its 3-season run, Dark shows exactly how to craft a compelling and complicated web of time travel. The story begins in the, at the time of broadcast, near future of 2019 Germany, in a small town called Winden. This tight-knit community is rocked by the sudden disappearance of 2 young children who seem to be connected with a cave there. I won't spoil more, but suffice to say, this is one story you'll probably need to revisit numerous times to catch all the clues along the way. Using a distinctly dark tone and a gorgeous atmospheric score, Dark is easily one of the best time travel series ever created, and easily a top contender to add to your watch list if you haven't already. It's important to make the distinction here that only season 1 of Heroes bears much semblance to the Umbrella Academy. While the heroes, no pun intended, in this series don't wear capes and show off their powers, it is one of the better examples of character writing and creating believable heroes in the modern day world. Serving as an origin story, Heroes manages to take the superhero ideas onto the small screen in a really compelling way. The characters are well written, given some decent screen time, and the extended runtime is enough to flesh everyone out and build up to a climactic showdown at the end. Unfortunately, season 2 onwards sees a sharp decline in quality, so your mileage with this may vary. Supacell takes a well-rehearsed and rounded plot and changes the setting slightly to South London. If you've seen Misfits or Heroes, the premise here is largely the same. The story sees a group of seemingly ordinary people from London unexpectedly develop superpowers. In doing so, they're forced to try and work together to beat a greater threat to humanity. Chock full of action, thrills and suspense, Netflix's 6-episode thriller is dense, and there's some great characterization here too. A lot of the main ensemble have good arcs and the story is well developed across its runtime. This one's definitely a newer entry on the scene, but undoubtedly worth checking out. When it comes to underrated sci-fi series, 12 Monkeys must be near the top of the list. This incredibly thrilling show completely surpasses its big screen brother to produce something really special and criminally overlooked. The story is relatively unchanged from the film sporting the same name. In the future, a virus has absolutely ravaged humanity and a lone time traveller jumps back to stop a plague from wiping out Earth. While it sounds simple in theory, 12 Monkeys quickly adds layers of depth to rival that seen in complicated time travel series like Dark. After an enjoyable and relatively predictable first season, 12 Monkeys changes the game by introducing a shadowy group called the Army of the 12 Monkeys. They too seem desperate to change the past, but to what end? Trust us when we say this one is absolutely worth your time. Based on the books of the same name, Dirk Gently's holistic detective agency is a frenetic, witty, intelligently paced show with a great mystery at its heart. The series revolves around an eccentric, enthusiastic amateur sleuth called Dirk, who whisks up unimportant nobody Todd on a supernatural, time-bending adventure to solve a bizarre mystery. Dirk Gently begins as a comedy, before quickly growing into a really engrossing, endearing comedic drama that only becomes more wild and wacky as it moves into the second season. If you're in the mood for a fantastical adventure, complete with trippy visuals, crazy shenanigans, and a few hearty laughs along the way, this may be the show for you. Legion is a challenging sci-fi series that exists somewhere within a weird space of the X-Men universe. It's also one of the more unusual and visually stunning shows you're likely to see in quite some time. When you've watched Legion, you'll know why this is on here, especially given some of the twists during the latter periods of the show. The story revolves around a super mutant named David Haller. This troubled young man spends his time institutionalized after being diagnosed as schizophrenic. What follows is an unforgettable journey as David tries to make sense of what's happening and why he's there. The show has 3 seasons and does end conclusively as well, making for a solid watch that's very much recommended. At first glance, you'd be forgiven for writing off Travellers as another generic sci-fi show. After all, a collection of people coming together to try to stop the world from total annihilation is hardly the most original of ideas. Where Travellers stands out though is the unique way it manages to weave its unique premise through a well-written plot and believable complex characters. The story takes place hundreds of years from now, as surviving humans discover how to send their consciousness back through time into people of the 21st century. Desperate to change the fateful path of humanity, Travellers combines mystery, action and tension to great effect. It's also worth noting that the show does end its 3-season run pretty well with an epic finale that concludes its tale on a high. Sense8 is one of the more ambitious and expensive projects greenlit by Netflix. Shot on location across the globe, Sense8 is an incredibly good looking show, and it merges that with a thought-provoking and action-packed story. The narrative here centres around a group of people across the globe who suddenly and inexplicably are mentally linked together. These characters are then thrust headfirst into danger, forced to find a way to survive as they're hunted by those who see them as a threat to the world's order. Sense8 backs up its impressive cinematography with 8 cerebrally charged narratives intertwined together to form one interesting story. There are a lot of twists and turns along the way, and it was such a fan favourite in its time that the abrupt ending to season 2 forced Netflix's hand to commission a conclusive feature film to finish this one off. So there we have it, our 10 TV show alternatives to keep you busy after you finish watching The Umbrella Academy on Netflix. So what did you think of our picks? Do you agree? Are there any notable omissions? Or do you think we're way off the mark? Either way, let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.